Would you get a load of this HJ45? Well, it was once upon a time. I'll tell you what, I've already done a walk around on this a long time ago, and so much has changed in that time. We're going to do another walk around. Now, this first walk around, still to date, is one of the most popular on our YouTube channel. It broke our little channel, so it is time to go through this car again. And there is a bit of a backstory I always like to start with. Now, this car in 2015, Bart owned this car, a friend, Bartholomew, and I remember I've been camping with him. We did a 40 series meet at Fraser Island, and this car was there. But the very next year, 2016 March, I was having a birthday party, and the new owner of this car crashed my birthday party. He wasn't invited. He rocks up in this car and says he's heard about me and I got some parts. Look at my new car. We had a few drinks. I was already drinking anyway. And from that day on, Tex and I have been good mates. He's part of the family at Mr Landcruiser. Good mates with everyone around here. So I've watched this car evolve, but just recently we've had our hands on this car. So much so, I'll go into a lot of detail on this one, but most recently it was a HJ45. It's had engine swaps and all sorts of things, gearbox and so many upgrades, but it's coming to Mr Landcruiser and we've done a chassis swap. Dave's snapped the chassis, and he's done a real number on this one. So our relationship as working on this vehicle, last year we did a chassis swap. So not just any chassis, we get a HJ47 chassis and we chop it to suit the size of the tray. And actually even the tray's new and been custom made, but we chopped it to the old specs. And Richard then went and changed the chassis a bit, shock towers and put power steering, and changed the mounts to run 79 series. This has got 79 series leaf springs on there, so we had to change the perches, the mounts on the chassis. They're a different length, and that gives Dave a bit more flex. Now Dave wheels this thing and he doesn't muck about, so we've gone to some of the same events together in Victoria, in the high country, in the snow, Land Cruiser Mountain, just all over the place. So to just harp on, but we're part of the same club. Again, we're mates, so we go wheeling everywhere together. It's taken a lot of transformations. It was a H engine back then in 2015. Dave killed that engine, put a 2H in it. He killed that engine and he's found himself another 2H. So this is its third engine since I've known it, and he's got it pretty good now. I'm going to open the bonnet so we can have a look at the 2H and what's hidden under the bonnet there. Here we go, under the bonnet. As I said, this is Dave's third motor, second 2H. You'll notice the crossover pipe now because last year Dave also whacked a turbo on it. This bad boy's got a bit of up and boogie, and so it was done all at the same time when we did the chassis swap. We did all the chassis work and put the cab on. Dave pretty much did everything else himself, and he's purchased a turbo and put that on there, and he's loving it. One of his favourite upgrades. Underneath the bonnet, she's pretty simple. The battery's at the back. I'll go and show you the battery set up in the tray in a minute, but you'll notice this. That's the sign that he has power steering. So he's done the 60 series power steer on this one. Makes a world of difference. That's all plumbed in. Otherwise, I see he's got the water fuel separator there, and Dave does like to put this in a bog hole. He actually likes to put it in water a lot. So he's got a little bit of help with the separator there, and everything else is pretty standard. I do notice that's a 60 series brake booster up the front, and that's Dave's 2H. A bit more about the car. There we go, we've got to protect it with the bonnet. So a bit more about the car. Right up the front, we have the McKinnon's bar. Again, we sell these. This is a very, very cool bar, and it was part of its birthday recently when did the chassis swap. And you will notice the finish on that is the Line-X. We have a lot of it done here, and a lot of our stuff on the side steps over there are also, both side steps are all Line-X, the same finish, just to colour code things in. And we also hooked Dave up with some Terralooms. We have the black or the chrome on the shelf, and this is a set of terror looms, all ADR, so you don't have to be afraid of the dark anymore. And I'm leaning on the guards. They're the FRP guards. Hook us up if you want a pair of them. FRP guards, these are oversized 75mm. He's got neg 44 sun raisers on here with the Falcon tyres. You can see it's quite a deep dish, so this guard makes it all legal, and they've been there on there since day dot. The scoop, this bonnet scoop used to sit a lot higher. If you go through our old YouTube, you'll see a lot of changes in this vehicle from the very first walk around. But I believe Dave has lowered this 50mm. It was just too high for him, and it gives it a real sporty look. I want to go now. Dave's custom the tray himself, and he's put some unique things into the tray, so I want to bring you to the back of the car. It's a bit of show and tell back here. Check out this tray. This is bloody awesome. It's Dave's custom made the whole thing himself. He's used the eco board. It's like a bamboo plastic, so it ain't gonna rot like wood. It's done all the steel work, did the wheel guards, absolutely everything himself. Underneath he's plumbed up a BJ73 tank, and that fuel tank, it's a doozy. It holds about 90 litres. We've got batteries under there, the spare tyre under there. If you're looking at this, you're going to see that is going to be one bitch of a job to get that spare tyre out. So Dave sorted that too. And you've got to love the height of this thing. This is like a real good height to work. You're not bending down. He's raised the whole tray. I really love it. But to access everything underneath, Dave's really thought about everything. And would you get a load of this? Absolutely love that. And not only can now we get in here, have a look in there. We've got some spares in top of the spare tyre, the batteries, the tank. Things are accessible. Not only that, Dave does a lot of camping. Again, I said we've been all over. We did the long drive for a drought, all over. So a lot of touring in this as well. So Dave sets up outdoor area with awning and kitchen, and now he's utilising bench space a little out here. And Australia Day, when we're on the beach, I think I've seen him having a snooze underneath in the shade as well. So he utilises this as a little awning. He's just done an excellent job. If you hadn't noticed the stacks, this thing's always had stacks, but Dave's made a little change. He's now got the electric diverter valve hooked up, so he can flick them off, and for different types of driving, he just dumps it underneath. So now he's got choices. It's just we're boys with our toys, and we just love having fun. So Dave modified this to suit his lifestyle, and he's no different from the rest of us. We just love modifying stuff, and it's another one of his little favourite things that he's done recently. What I didn't mention about the tray while we're still underneath, he's hidden a little reverse camera in behind the bar. You can't knock it, it can't get hooked on anything, and he's got LED, double dual LED reverse lights that can help him set up camping as well. The fun doesn't stop, so let's go. The inside's so heavily modified. We've got to go and sit in the bloody thing and have a look. This thing is so comfy in here. It's just next level comfy. A big part of that, I'd say, is it's got Mazda 3 seats in there. So Dave's made some adapters and had that all signed off. Very comfy. Also find the size of the steering wheel. So it's got power steer, so it doesn't need the big old Toyota one. It just allows a little bit more leg room. You can see it can spread out a bit in here. A custom and old fridge in there. I think Dave's said it's done its dash, so it's now just a console, but it's got the center console, the bucket seats. Down below me, it's got, he's done his own, sized up and cut his own deadener to keep the heat from the floor out as they get nice and warm. Customized sticks. Above my head is so cool. The whole lot, Dave has made it himself. He's even this centerpiece here, he's pulled it out of a Kia and integrated that into his own custom console. The reason he used this is it holds his glasses, it's got lighting for either driver, passenger. We've got 4 speakers up here, and right in front of my visuals, we've got the double din. So you've got the stereo, and that's hooked up to the reverse camera, and we've got our GPS maps for four-wheel driving and for the city, all integrated up there as well. So on the passenger side, we've also got storage. So he's utilised that space just to shove some stuff up there. And this is one hell of a a very, very cool custom made console. Just shows what guys do at home. You know, you don't have to buy things off the shelf, just having a go. And the dash has a it's like a carbon fiber dip, and he's done that through everything: the glove box, the center, the tacho, and the cluster, and that's given it its own sporty look as well. He's integrated gauges. We've got oil pressure gauge, and we've got boost and EGTs there for easy access as well. The only other thing is it's got the voltage readouts, his Siggy socket, and he's got a couple of little ports to charge the phone and what have you. So Tex, you've done a bloody nice job in here. I got to drive this. It's a comfy car to drive. When it was in here, we never give them back before we have a good old test drive ourselves. So well done, Dave. And I've got to show you, before we jump inside, check this out. Now these are sports doors, so they're cutting down sports doors. If you know anything about them, more so seen in the shorties, they don't have windows. You can't do much about that. So Dave knew he was going to the Victorian high country in the snow, and he's custom made these himself. They just pop in and out. The whole trip, it was quite cold, so they stayed in. Dave's got more than one car, so this one doesn't go out on rainy days much, but that's another option in the winter or the cold. But the bulk of the time, look at that, ain't she a doozy? So Dave just pops them in. These actually live behind the driver's seat, so it just makes, they don't take up any space whatsoever. He's got a little hook so they don't rattle, and it does an absolutely perfect job. And the rest of the time, look at it, it's just open, feeling the breeze. Southeast Queensland, you just got to love that, feeling the breeze. This thing's a bloody weapon, ain't it? And the fun still goes on underneath suspension wise. We've got a rear locker, and the Bilsteins, we've got Bilstein shocks. They're 10-inch because we've got the Ford 250 shock towers at the front now, have changed things, but Dave's done the back as well, moved the mounting points, so they're 10-inch front and rear. And I've already mentioned it, I'll mention it again, that 79 series rear leafs, and it just gives it so much more flex. And he four-wheel drives this, he tours in it, he travels, he wheels, and occasionally he just dailies it to work. So it's ticking all boxes. Underneath up the front, this model did not come out with disc brakes. It has them now. This model definitely did not have those steering arms on there. He's got the Superior Engineering steering arms added in there for some strength, again because he wheels it hard. I'm not going to go for a wheel in it, but I am going to take it for a drive. I just can't wait. It's been a while since I've driven this one. It's time to get up and see if I can blow some smoke out of them stacks. Let's kick her in the guts. It should be warm. You gotta love that. Hell yeah, I am pumped. This thing just goes like a shower of shit. So much fun to drive. Thanks Dave for bringing it around.